Yeah, it's definitely going to test everyone's game, very demanding. So I'm excited to see how this week is going to play out.
What do you think is going to be sort of the characteristics that someone needs to tackle Erin Hills?
I mean, it's very demanding off the tee with all the bunkers. The bunkers are not easy. Sometimes you just don't even have a stance in them because they're so small. And then the shots into the greens and also the greens. So just an overall good test of your entire game.
We're going to open it up for questions. Amy on the left.
Nelly, how would you describe your preparations for this major championship compared to the Chevron?
I mean, I played the week before Chevron, so was a bit more in like playing mode. Obviously had 2 weeks off after Mizuho, so maybe a little bit more rested, I would say. But other than that, I've been working pretty hard, so I'm excited to see how this golf course is going to test my game.
We'll go on the right, Gary.
Nelly, can I get your impressions of the ninth hole, which the par 3, which in some championships sure has been one of the toughest holes on the course?
Yeah, it's a diabolical green for sure, especially if the wind gets up. It's going to be a very interesting test. I wonder how many groups are going to be on the tee box. But, that's the U.S. Open. It's supposed to test every part of your green. You're supposed to have holes like that, and it's a really cool hole because obviously on the green you look at it and you don't see how sloped the green is. And I mean, if you look at it just from the tee box, it's, you see it's kind of like a shorter par 3, but it's very, very demanding in every aspect.
On the left, Sarah.
Nelly, obviously you're one of the longer LPGA Tour, but you probably put in a premium on accuracy as much as distance this week. Can you just speak to that and what it's going to take to keep the ball in the fairway out here?
Yeah, it's no matter how far you hit it. Sometimes actually on golf courses, the longer hitters have to actually thread it a little bit more than shorter hitters. So it doesn't matter really how far you hit it. It's all about accuracy at the end of the day, especially on a golf course like this.
Back right in the blue.
Nelly, I enjoyed your Instagram post the other day with the alligator on the court. There won't be any alligators out here, but the wind can be biting. So is it the type of situation where you got to play different shots, different thoughts on different holes because of the wind?
Yeah, I think weather plays a pretty big role out here, especially with kind of no coverage, no trees to kind of block it. It's kind of a very big open field. So when it gets windy out here, it's going to really play with your golf ball. So it's just kind of seeing what the day has in store and having a game plan for it.
Yeah, right down the center.
Nelly, late last year, Justin Thomas said that one of the hardest things in golf is to play when everyone knows that you're going to potentially contend and or win. Mm-hmm. Do you subscribe to that? Do you believe in that? Is that something you think about?
Not necessarily. I don't try and think about it. Definitely when you're a higher ranked player or you're popular, there's more pressure on you. I think from just outside perspective, when it comes to media, fans coming out to watch you play, I mean, if you want to feel it, you will feel it. But I think what's really important is just kind of sticking to your game plan and being really focused on what you're doing at that present time. And that's really helped me.
Was that something that you had to develop over time? Was that a thought process that you started golf with or started professional golf with, or is that something you've worked on?
I think the more you're put in under pressure moments and the more you're in contention, you learn more about yourself and how to handle those situations. And, every year something's tested me, and every year I learn a little bit more about myself and how to handle myself in some situations. So yeah, I think it's all about putting yourself into that position. But at the end of the day, you're the one that put yourself there, and you have to be grateful that you are in that spot, and you kind of have to just enjoy even the pressure.
Front right, Rob, and then if you pass it right behind you.
Now, what are the differences in preparation for a course like this, somewhat more modern versus some of the more classics you've been at for this event the last, few years?
I mean, I prep the same way. I try to play for misses. I try to work my way around the greens and, try to figure out just lines off the tee. My preparation is very simple, and I do the same thing every single week.
Right here?
You had mentioned every year you learned something about yourself. What have you learned about yourself and your game so far this year? And just how do you feel about the way your year's gone up to this point?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting year for me. Definitely have had, a good bit of good and a bit of bad, kind of a mix in kind of every event that I've played in. So I would say just patience is what I've learned, and kind of going back home and really locking in and practicing hard.
Good to hear from Nelly there. I mean, when you look at her season so far this year compared to the prolific year she had in 2024, she picked up these 7 wins. At this point in her season, coming into the US Women's Open, she already had 6 titles in the bag. As we know, she has yet to win so far in 2025. But looking at her scoring average, everything is there to say that Nelly Korda is still playing some terrific golf. So let's get it on to the course, where we head down to the 8th and find the world #1, Brandel. I mean, when you look at Nelly Korda at the US Women's Open, everything about her game suggests that she is made for this kind of championship with her length and the demands of the course, but she's never really seriously contended at this championship. Why do you think that is?
I would say everything except the results.
Yeah.
You just look at the results. She played in 10 US Open. She's only broken 70 twice in her career. She has more rounds in the 80s. She plays every single year. She has a big number. As a matter of fact, she averages 3 doubles or worse in in the US Open. 3 doubles or worse. She's actually had years where she made 9, 4, 3. She made a 10 last year. So I just don't know that she's as disciplined as she needs to be with her shot selection, hole in and hole out, day in and day out, to be what you would call a US Open player. On paper, she is. She drives it great. She's a very good iron player. She's not in Minjee Lee's class as an iron player, but she's very good. And she's good around the greens and good on the greens. It doesn't make any sense. She averages almost 32 putts around in her career out of the US Open, 31 and change. So she's clearly putting herself in bad spots on the greens, above the hole. Can't putt aggressive. So I just think that she needs to play with some discretion. I do look at this golf course, and I'm curious to see what Mel thinks about this. I look at this golf course potentially as just a phenomenal course for her. The fairways are 50, 60 yards wide. She can absolutely let it out and get after it if she just plays with some discretion this week, Mel.
Yeah, and this is just from my opinion, I think she needs to get a better hold of her emotions in these major championships. I think when you step out into the arena, you have to go into sort of a character. You have to kind of put this armor on. You have to have this stoic, nothing can faze you, but this killer, instinct, back against the wall, I will get this done mentality. And I feel like at times she has become overwhelmed by the situation, which is a wild thing to say for someone of her caliber, someone who has won as many times as Nelly Korda, someone who, yes, even though she does have high rounds in these championships, she does come back, so the grit is there. It is there. But for me, we saw her at the US Open, Women's Open last year. We also saw her at KPMG, by the way. She was 69, she was second going into the second round and shot 81 and was visibly upset on the golf course, and that makes me a little nervous. You don't really see that from a Gino or Lydia. And so I think that that's something that she needs to work on. I feel like her trajectory to success has been pretty smooth sailing. I think this is the only kind of speed bumps that we see from Nelly, and I think that she's doing a decent-ish job at riding it out, and I think that when she does ride this out, I think she will win as many major championships as she wants because she has everything else there. But I really feel like she needs to get a grip of her emotions in these big moments.
Yeah, she's coming off a mixed performance as well at the Chevron Championship just a couple of weeks ago. So unsure as to what we will see from the world #1, but our Amy Rogers is down greenside with Nelly. Amy, what have you got on the world #1 so far this week?
Hey there, Anna. Well, at the season's first major championship, the Chevron Championship, Nelly Korda got off to a tough start to that major with an opening round of 77. And she said at the end of the week that it was her poor preparation that led to her poor performance that week. She just wasn't able to get in as much preparation as she would like. Well, that is not the case here this week at the U.S. Women's Open. She arrived here early and was able to get in a practice round on both Monday and Tuesday here at Erin Hills, which she was not able to do at the first major championship of the year. She said that she's in a little bit more of a rest mode than she was the first major of the year when she was more of a playing mode. She had played the week before leading into that first major of the year. And so she also added that she's been working very hard on her game during these last 2 weeks that she's taken off.
Okay, Amy, thank you very much indeed. Well, we are certainly looking forward to Nelly Korda getting her US Women's Open Championship underway, 2:25 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, alongside Charlie Hull and Lexi Thompson. That is going to be a very fun group indeed.